25 years. Your home for Minnesota Twins baseball.
The final series in a long homestand begins tonight at Target Field as the Twins host the Tampa Bay Rays in for a 3-game series in Minneapolis this weekend. These Twins have been hitting home runs at a pretty impressive clip. A little uncharacteristic for this team. Since August 1st, 49% of the Twins' runs that are scored have been courtesy of the home run. And that leads all of baseball over the last 6 weeks. And welcome back to Target Field. I'm Marnie Gellner. One of the players who has been responsible for hitting those home runs is Oswaldo Arcia. He, in this last series against Oakland, hit 2 home runs. He went 4 for 11 in that series and has been swinging a pretty hot bat now that he is healthy again. The home runs were numbers 11 and 12 of the season. Ron Gardenhire talked this afternoon about the importance of Arcia hitting to the opposite field where one of his home runs went. He said, we're seeing what Arcia is capable of when he's healthy and when he's on the ball. And Arcia now has 12 home runs this season, which is right up there with the best among the rookies in the American League this season. Remember, he hasn't played a full season up with the Twins either. Arcia is the designated hitter for the Twins tonight. He will bat 4th in the lineup against Tampa as Minnesota kicks off this 3-game series against the Rays. And once again, Tampa is in the thick of things, right in that playoff race. We'll see if the Twins can disrupt that. But the first of 3 coming up at Target Field.
Presented by Northland Ford. Visit northlandford.com and your local Northland Ford dealer today. And by Menards. Save big money on all your home improvement needs at Menards.
The best race in baseball is the American League wild card race. The Texas Rangers in control of things right now, and the Tampa Bay Rays hanging on. But look at the competition. 4 teams pursuing those 2 teams for just 2 spots in the playoff field. Dick and Bert with you for the opening game of a new series for the Twins at Target Field as the Twins take on the Tampa Bay Rays, a team that is in the hunt, and they are still in the control of their own destiny, but they're having a bit of a tough time now in September. Some things starting to slip away a little bit.
Yeah, they have very good pitching set, but the offense has been sputtering a little bit. But you look back in June, I mean, they were winning series. That's the best in baseball, but as of late, since June 5th, they are losing series, and they find themselves 8.5 games back behind the Boston Red Sox, but still in that wild card race. One guy that kind of carries the offense, leading that ball club with 29 home runs, and he's driven in 75 runs, is Evan Longoria. This guy's an all-star. He's a key to their offense that, like I mentioned, hitting only .225 over the last 18 ball games.
Kevin Correa in the National League pitched some innings, won double digits in wins in 4 straight years. It appears he's on his way to doing that in his first year with the Minnesota Twins. He's been Minnesota's most reliable, most consistent starting pitcher.
Yeah, you know what, for Kevin Correa, the first 2 innings are very important. He's a pitcher not going to get a lot of strikeouts. He has to hit his spots. He pitches to contact because he doesn't have that strikeout pitch all the time. But he does make the adjustment. Almost half of his runs that he has allowed this year have come in the first and second inning. So tonight here, get through the first couple innings, put some zeros on the board. Hopefully the Twins can score him some runs.
Well, the Twins taking on a team that has been struggling as of late. The Twins have a chance to play the spoiler in the American League wild card race. Game 1 of 3 with the Rays coming up next. Alex Presley's done a nice job for the Twins since coming over from the Pittsburgh Pirates. He's in the starting lineup again here tonight as the Twins hope to have a winning series. That's been a big issue for the Twins here at Target Field. Winning series in general an issue for Joe Maddon and the Rays at this point. Still, as we said, in control of their own destiny. If they continue to win, they'll win a wild card spot. The Rays batting order for the opening game after having swept the Twins in a 4-game series in St. Petersburg. David DeJesus was not with the ball club back then. He's leading off. Ben Zobrist, James Loney, Evan Longoria, Kelly Johnson, Will Myers, Desmond Jennings, Jose Molina, and Yunel Escobar.
And on the mound, it'll be Kevin Correa making his 29th start, his second against the Rays. He pitched in one of those 4 games in Tampa. Ended up getting a no decision in the Twins' loss to the Rays in 13 innings. In that ball game, Correa pitched pretty good. He did walk 5 in that ball game in 5 1/3 innings to damage the 2-run home run to Kelly Johnson, who was in this lineup and has hit 5 career home runs against Correa.
Northland Ford defense for the Twins. There's some speed in the outfield. Darren Mastroianni in left, Alex Presley in center, Clee Thomas in right. Plouffe, Escobar, Dozier, Parmalee the infielders, and Osmil Pinto behind the plate. DeJesus, one of the late season acquisitions for the Rays, and he takes strike 1 from Correa.
Yeah, DeJesus coming over from the Chicago Cubs on August 23rd. Excuse me, from the Nationals to the Rays. For a player to be named later, or Cash, not Johnny Cash.
Or Dave Cash, for that matter. Or Norm Cash. 1-1.
I mentioned Correa. His first 2 innings, he's given up 36 runs of the 80 runs, earned runs he's given up. So first 2 innings, very important for Correa. Hopefully put a 0 on the board.
1-1. Correa to DeJesus. And while the start he made against the Rays back in July, a distant memory of more concern for Correa was his most recent start when he gave up 5 first-inning runs against the Blue Jays and then was able to give the Twins some innings after that.
Yeah, in that inning, Adam Lind hit that 3-run home run, and then Lowry followed with another home run. That was the damage in that ball game that the Twins lost 11-2.
Taking a little low 2-2.
Correa is all about movement. Keep the ball down, work both sides of the corner, change speeds. In his first season with the Twins, came up with the Giants back in 2003.
Check swing, an appeal, full count. Well, the Rays picking up Delman Young, Jesse Crane, who's yet to pitch for them. Wesley Wright, David DeJesus, as you look at Zobrist in the on-deck circle. Ray again with the 5 walks, uncharacteristic for him. It was the only start this year where he's walked more than 3 in a game. And a called 3rd strike. DeJesus thought he'd earned a walk without swinging the bat. Instead, Correa gets the K.
Correa, you know, he's not going to throw everything straight, and that one right there, right down the middle pretty much. Clock strikes, says it's a strike.
9 wins on the year, 11 losses, and Correa, more than any other Twin starter, has given the Twins some innings and a chance to win on a more regular basis.
Yeah, I think, you know, with the numbers that he's given up in the first inning, it's just sometimes he finds himself always in the hole, and the offense finds themselves in the hole. So that's why it's important. First 3 innings of a ball game, try to put a 0 on the board the first 3 innings if you can.
So our Coors Light cold hard fact. Another one off the plate, 2-0.
That's a pitch that Correa needs right there. That little sinker down and away. Good pitch to Zobrist, just missing.
8 pitches thrown, and all 8 of them have been taken. There's one put in play. It's a fly ball to left. Mastroianni under it. 2 away. You know, I think having watched this Twins lineup struggle to score runs all year long, it's safe to say that first run, so critically important for the Twins, they need to score it rather than give it up. This is not a quick strike offense by any means. And in the case of the ball game yesterday that we didn't televise, Scott Diamond gave up 4 runs early in the ball game, and yeah, it was early, but it just seemed almost insurmountable the way the Twins are swinging the bats.
I think what we have seen is a club that's not going to steal a lot of bases. So even though, you know, they're down, they're not going to steal their way back in. So, but if they have a lead, Gardy can do hit and running and things like that that you can't do when you're sometimes 3-4 runs behind.
Loney with a nice come-back year, hitting over 300. A little bit of power, swing and a miss, 1 strike.
He's currently on a 7-game hitting streak. Had a 16-game hitting streak earlier this year.
fastball sailing away.
Loney has been the batter for the Rays that has faced Correa the most, 31 at bats. He has 7 hits, a couple home runs off of Correa. There's a 7-game hitting streak, hitting at .333.
Taken low. Dozen pitches, and there have been 2 pitches offered at. Loney's swing and a miss, and Zobrist fly ball to left. Beautiful weather here in the Twin Cities today, and a gorgeous early fall night for baseball. This one lofted to right. Thomas with a running catch, and a 1-2-3 top of the first for Kevin Correa. Ron Gardenhire's time at the helm of the Twins has a winning mark. But as we said, the Rays won all 4 games in St. Petersburg back in July. The Menards batting order for the Twins: Alex Presley, followed by Josmil Pinto, Brian Dozier, Oswaldo Arcia, Trevor Plouffe, Chris Parmalee, Darren Mastroianni, Lee Thomas, and Eduardo Escobar.
And on the mound, it's a 24-year-old showing his stirrups, Chris Archer, making his 20th start of the year, second against the Twins. He was a winning pitcher against Kyle Gibson back in July in St. Petersburg. Won that ball game 4-1. He pitched well. 6 innings, allowed only 3 runs, 1 unearned run with 4 walks and 3 strikeouts.
Northland Ford defense for the Tampa Bay Rays: David DeJesus in left, Desmond Jennings in center, Will Myers in right, Evan Longoria, Yunel Escobar left side of the infield, Ben Zobrist, James Loney on the right side, and Jose Molina, who took a day off. His family had a situation, some surgery for his mother in St. Louis, back with the team and back behind the plate.
One thing we'll see, hopefully, some good defense. Both these clubs, one of the best in both of them in the American League as far as fewest errors.
Presley hitting .340 since coming over from the Pirate organization. He takes strike 1. And strike 2. Archer trying to bounce back from a couple of disappointing losses. In September, he's 0-2 and has only thrown 7 2/3 innings in the 2 starts.
He's given up 13 hits, 7 earned runs, and 3 home runs over his last 2 starts. ERA at 8.22. He lost to the Angels and to the Mariners, both of them in Anaheim and Seattle.
Two strikes to Alex Presley. Ooh, check swing foul. Yikes. Everybody's okay. Talking with Ron Gardenhire this afternoon, talking specifically about the batting order, the lineup, the position players, and all the strikeouts. He says the main thing they need to do is protect the plate and not take so many called third strikes. The high number of strikeouts is one thing, but just an inordinate amount of called third strikes. He says, you know, when he played and in the history of the game, you got 2 strikes. You had to try to protect the plate. Even if the pitch is a little bit, you think, off the plate or out of the strike zone, you still have to try to fight it off and get a hittable pitch.
I think the days of Tim Foley, they used to, you know, kind of, there's a line drive base hit to left field. Almost what Presley did right there, just kind of slapped the ball the other way. You know, Tim Foley, when he got 2 strikes, he choked up even more and just made sure they got contact. But the game has changed in that direction, too. That breaking ball left up, and this is what we have seen Presley do in that leadoff spot. Find a way to get on, and hopefully score some runs.
You know, he had a check swing on a pitch that was fouled off, and then he took one, and Archer hung a breaking pitch right over the middle of the plate, and he got a base hit to left. And that's kind of what Ron Gardenhire was talking about. 2 strikes. Alter your approach, and nothing good will happen if you don't put the ball in play. Here's Pinto. And he takes a strike. Pinto's done well since the Justin Morneau trade. He was called up.
I don't know if you'd use the word well. I think he's done great. 14 hits and 30 at-bats, 5 doubles, a home run. Of course, facing these pitchers for the first time around.
96 miles per hour, but low, 1-1.
Pinto, 24 years old. If you have not known anything about Pinto, he started in Double-A, then moved up to Triple-A, combined both levels, hitting over 300 with 15 home runs, like Molina wants time.
That's a new glove. Archer's already shredded his catcher's mitt. Popped a lace. One and one to Osmil Pinto.
Archer can get that fastball in the upper 90s at times.
Up the middle to the shortstop Escobar, who starts a double play.
Perfectly placed double play. Archer kind of pulled away. He knew exactly where that ball was going to go, right to his shortstop, who Escobar, all he had to do was field it and step on the bag. Watch Archer right here. Okay, I know where this is going to go. And an easy double play.
Must be hard for a great natural athlete. We've established pitchers are the best athletes.
Thank you.
Must be hard to not try to make an athletic play on a ground ball like that.
Well, why would you? You'd have to spin around and make a good throw.
No, but it's still, if you're that athletic, you ought to be able to make that play.
But the ball wasn't hit hard enough. You knew where that ball was going.
1-0 to Dozier.
That comes with being the best athlete out there.
The liner to center. Twins get a hit. Dozier hits the ball well, but Archer faces just 3 men in the inning.
and baseball players are known to have some pretty wacky superstitions. So that leads us to our Grand Casino's Social Spotlight tonight, where we'd like to hear about your favorite baseball superstition. Something you've seen a player do or heard about, or the guy on your D-League softball team does religiously. It's all in play tonight. Tweet us using the hashtag baseball13th. And we will read some of your favorite baseball superstitions. Dick and Bert, you guys have been around this game for a long time. I can only imagine some of the superstitions you have seen over the years.
Yeah, actually, I'm sitting right here because Friday the 13th, I don't wear pants, so that's one of my superstitions.
Just please don't stand up.
You have any superstitions at all?
I'm not superstitious by nature. I guess the one superstition that people might care about from a play-by-play guy is when you get a no-hitter for 5 innings or something like that. What does a play-by-play guy do? Some guys who do what I do still refrain from saying that the pitcher has a no-hitter and all that. I guess feeling in some way that something we can say up here can control what might or might not happen down on the field, but I've never believed I've had a whole lot of influence on the game itself. So no, I'm not real superstitious. There's a pitch outside, and it's 3-1.
So you're going to put me on camera just to show that I am wearing pants, okay?
Yes.
Now, I'd be more than happy to... Okay.
It's too late in the season. We've already endured too much. Longoria taps it left side. Escobar has a play. He fires across one away. Roy Smalley, what's the... first of all, did you have a famous or a favorite baseball superstition?
I wasn't a real superstitious guy, but I succumbed to the, you never know, just in case kind of syndrome with the same sweatshirt. If I was hitting well or we were winning, I always let it be washed. I didn't wear dirty ones, but I'd wear the same one.
Yeah, right.
If we were going well. But no, I wasn't a real superstitious guy. But you were talking about no hitters, Dick. I played behind Dave Righetti in Yankee Stadium. Played shortstop for the Yankees behind Righetti's July 4th no hitter. Boy, there wasn't anybody saying anything on that bench about that one that day.
Well, it'd be different if I was in the dugout. Here's a bouncer to first, and it'll be the second out.
There. Good pitch.
2 down. Johnson retired. If you're in the dugout and you're actually, around the guy who's pitching the no-hitter, well, then I could see it. But my goodness, we're 100 yards away from the dugout here. We're not influencing anything by saying, so-and-so's got a no-hitter. Right now, Kevin Correa's got a no-hitter.
Yeah, take a look at this pitch. This is an outstanding pitch. That's that ball down and away that didn't get called in the first inning against Zobrist, but that's an outstanding pitch. That's what Correa needs to pitch right there. Get ground ball outs. First 2 outs this inning came on the ground.
Will Myers, the batter, 2 down quickly here in the second inning. I think the most fun superstition in the years I've been doing this, here's a ball to right. And that ball is off the glove of Clete Thomas. And Myers will go to second. Thomas came in and then reached back. And it hit the glove. I'm guessing a likely error will be charged on Thomas.
Yeah, it looks like he got fooled on that line drive. Now, Myers getting a pitch up and hitting it sharply.
Yeah, Bert, that wasn't sharply. This ball was hammered. It was a rocket from down here, and it really, really fooled Clete. Not only did it carry farther than he thought, but you can see it curved, too. It went back to toward the right field line. I was standing directly behind the trajectory, and you don't see a right-hander hit the ball that hard on the line too often. That ball was really smoked.
And I guess because of that, they give Myers a double. And now a base hit to center field. Myers will go to third, and he'll score with Jennings singling on the very next pitch, and it's 1-0. So I mentioned that he had a no-hitter, and 2 pitches later, there are 2 hits on the board and a run.
Yeah, pretty good hitting right there by Jennings. He went down and got a pretty good pitch and hit it softly into center. So the Rays take an early 1-0 lead.
And let's be clear, I'm not wishing ill Clete Thomas at all. I don't want to see Twins players get errors, but no matter how hard that ball was hit, that's a play I think he and everybody would expect him to make. I'm surprised at the official scoring that double there.
I'd already put E9 in my book. Here's Jose Molina. Ball one. The most enjoyable superstition that I have been around with the Twins in 1987 into 88, Frank Viola ate at the same restaurant, ordered the same pasta.
Yeah, it was tough when he was on the road. No, at home.
At home, and we went like, what, 24 starts without losing at the Metrodome?
Right. Why would you change that?
Yeah. Cracked foul, 1-1.
I don't know if you call superstitious, but when I pitched, I had a certain place I wanted to sit, and I expected my catcher and my pitching coach to be near me. That was kind of a routine, and a lot of times on fields like this, when I went out to the mound, I kicked the chalk line. So I'd be coming out of the first base dugout, I'd kick the chalk line going out, then I'd kick it back going in. I wanted 18 kicks. That means I went 9 innings.
Liam Hendricks, I know, goes to great lengths to hop over the chalk line.
Right.
For the very same reason. That's his ritual.
Right.
1-1, and a pitch off the knuckles over the Twins dugout. 1-2.
Well, Molina, 37 years old, of course, part of the Molina brothers that caught so many years at the major league level. Yadier Molina, his brother, with the Cardinals, having an outstanding year. But Jose always has been more of a defensive catcher than an offensive catcher. Career .238 hitter. Caught for the Cubs, the Angels, the Yankees, the Blue Jays. Now in his second season with the Rays.
1-2. Very high.
Watching Correa right there. He's a little upset at that high pitch right there. He kind of gestured that, come on, stay back, get the ball down in the strike zone. Left the pitch up to Myers that he did hammer into right field. Then Jennings got a breaking ball for that RBI base hit.
Two and foul back.
Keep an eye on Jennings at first base. 20 stolen bases for Jennings in 28 attempts. And base runners, 6 stolen bases in 9 attempts against Correa.
th pitch of the ball game for Correa. Slow breaking ball. Hunter Wendelstedt calls him out. Will Myers doubling out of the glove of Cleve Thomas, and it leads to a run. just like in your dugout during October. Joe Madden, John Farrell, Jim Leland, Bob Melvin, Ron Washington, and then Joe Girardi not on that list because nobody would vote for the Yankees anyway. But cast your vote using the appropriate hashtag. Joe Madden's been there. John Farrell has not as a manager. Jim Leland has. Bob Melvin had the A's in there last year. Ron Washington's gone to the World Series twice. Chris Archer gave up a base hit to start the ball game, talking to somebody out there, but he's all alone on the mound. What's he doing, Bert?
Nothing, just kind of reminding himself how to maybe stay back. He's got a very deliberate delivery. He does a good job of getting to that balance point and creating that downward plane. That's maybe what he's talking about. Stay back, stay tall, and then create that angle toward home plate.
Here's Arcia to start the Twins' second. Changeup on the outside corner strike.
It's almost an old convention type delivery, working off that first base side of the pitching rubber, but he kind of steps off to the side, the high leg kick. Has a little hesitation, allows that arm to catch up a little bit. If you do that, then you can keep that ball better down in the strike zone.
1-1 to Arcia. Hit a home run, what was about the only highlight in the ball game yesterday. Takes one high. 2-1. Dozen home runs for Arcia. Yeah, swing, but he went. There are three rookies, Connor Gillespie, Nick Franklin, and Oswaldo Arcia, on top of the leaderboard for rookie home runs in the American League. Will Myers with 11. Two and two to tonight's Twins designated hitter. Fouled away.
Archer, just 24 years old, originally signed by the Indians out of Raleigh, North Carolina, but then traded over to the Cubs and then came over to the Rays in the Matt Garza trade back in January of 2011.
Arcia swings and misses, 1 away.
Good fastball right there. That is that weight back and keep that ball down. Good fastball right there. But take a look at his delivery, utilizing that pitching rubber, turning that right foot into that little area that you can push off with. Then that little hesitation right there allows that arm to hit on top and then work out front.
One down. Here's Plouffe. Strike on the inside corner.
You can almost see where he landed right there. In front of him is where Kevin Correa was landing. So he does have a very short stride compared to Kevin Correa's stride.
And that's under the glove of Zobrist. And Plouffe should get a base hit with 1 out in the second. I'll bring up Chris Parmelee.
Bert, it seems to me like that short stride that he has as we watch Trevor hit the ball hard past Zobrist at second base. It seems to me like a pitcher taking a short stride like that when he throws over the top the way Archer does would help him get his back bent, get his arm up, and keep the ball down.
And also help him with that breaking ball, because if you overstride, then your arm's going to drag a little bit. Every time I threw a curveball, I always thought shorter than my fastball stride. That way I could get over the top.
Parmelee, the first baseman. You can see the landing area in front of the pitcher's rubber.
Now watch where he lands, and even though that's there's cutout in front of him.
1 strike.
Now that hit off a Plouffe. There's not too many right-handers been able to hit this young man right here, because right-handers came into the ball game hitting only 169 against Archer. Opponents just 224 overall. Left-handers hitting 261. He's given up 13 home runs, only 2 to right-handed hitters.
1 strike to Parmelee. And the first fastball was 94, and it got a foul ball. Next one, 96 across the letters, a swing and a miss.
Yeah, there are the numbers right there. 13 home runs overall, but great opponent batting average, especially against righties.
And I would tell you that base hit to right for Trevor Plouffe makes him and especially his hitting coach Tom Bernansky happy. He's been working very, very hard to try not to pull everything. And that ball was hit hard over there the other way. He doesn't do that a lot. If he'll do it more, he'll get a lot better.
And 96 on the corner, 2 away. That's, again, what Ron Gardenhire was talking about. Too many called third strikes.
Yeah, be ready to swing the bat. Even you can foul that off, but Parmalee took it for strike 3. Second strikeout for Archer.
Sports show you've been waiting for. Introducing The Crowd Goes Wild with Regis Philbin and a cast of former athletes and journalists that'll talk about things you won't hear on other shows. Sports talk just got a lot more colorful. Crowd Goes Wild. Weekdays at 4 p.m. Central on Fox Sports 1. Darren Mastroianni, the batter. Twins with a pair of singles. Plouffe at first after his 1-out single here in the second. The Rays got a couple of 2-out hits in the second to score the first run of the game.
Because of that high leg kick, clubs have run against Archer. Now, Plouffe, doesn't have the quickest, as far as he's going to try to steal a base, but there have been 15 stolen bases against Archer in 17 attempts.
Archer just rearing back, throwing that fastball.
And that's what you want to do early on. Get ahead with the fastball, especially when it's clocked here at 95, 96. I mean, he's got a baby face. Look at that young man right there. 6'3", 200 pounds.
Baby face and a big boy arm. Boy, this stuff coming up here is pretty good.
1 strike to Mastroianni. Check swing, 1-1. You look at him facially, a little bit like a younger Johan Santana.
A little bit. Signed out of high school by the Indians back in 2006. Clayton High School out of North Carolina.
Very high.
This is where the veteran Molina kind of stepped out and just kind of calm him down right there, get him back down into the zone. Rays have a very good starting staff, combined 3.89 earned run average. They are third best earned run average in the American League.
2-1 to Mastroianni. Low throw, that hits Plouffe, and he'll get a base here. I think the ball actually hit Trevor and skipped over near the camera well. Now a 2-out hit would to the outfield might tie the ball game.
Yeah, should be an error on the pitcher right there, low throwing Loney right there and then getting away from him. You can see, yeah, it looked like it hit the maybe the shin of Trevor Plouffe. Well, Plouffe gets in the scoring position with 2 outs.
Mistake by a young pitcher. Bird, you talk a lot about wanting to get the hitter out. Here's a guy that's not going to steal a base, as you mentioned. There's no sense in even worrying about that guy over there.
Right.
Dug out by Molina, and it's 3-1. Clete Thomas on deck. Trying to answer with a 2-out hit to get the game tied. Three and 1 to the Twins left fielder. High fly to right field. And Will Myers calls for it. That ends the inning to the third. It's 1-0 Tampa Bay. Beautiful night under the stars at the ballpark. Camp's open. And if you'd like to bring a group to a ball game yet, night game tomorrow, day game Sunday, and then the final week of the season here. You can organize a business, church, school, or just a general group of fans to come out and watch some ball. Visit twinsbaseball.com/groups or call 800-33-TWINS and get a great deal on the remaining games left on the schedule this year. Yunel Escobar leading off the third against Kevin Correa.
Not too many times you have both shortstops in the night's game, both called Escobar last name.
Alcides Escobar would be a third. But right now he's in Comerica Park, and the Tigers are drubbing the Royals 6-1. This afternoon, Cleveland beat Chicago 3-1. U.S. Cellular Field. Ball hit the left center field. Presley over. And he won't get there. He'll spin and fire with Escobar trying for two. And he's in with a double. Leadoff double for the Rays shortstop.
Well, good base running right there by Escobar, because Presley is a left-handed thrower. He had to go to his right, get to the ball, and then spin around. It would have taken a perfect throw to get him. Breaking ball left up. Escobar hitting that gap in left center. And as he rounded first base, he saw this right here. Okay, he's got to spin around, get it back in. He'll throw on the outfield side. And Escobar a double, his 26th double of the year.
David DeJesus was called out on strikes to start the ball game.
Got to take the bunt away from him right here. Trevor Plouffe in a little bit. DeJesus, remember him with the Kansas City Royals? He would bunt. Also with the A's.
Outside ball one.
Spent 8 seasons in a Kansas City Royal uniform, DeJesus. Then went over to Oakland. Started the season with the Cubs, then traded over to the Nationals. Now ending the season with the Rays. Always been a good hitter. 280 career hitter.
Bunt foul.
There's the bunt. Now that play looked right there. It looked like Trevor Plouffe was going back to the bag, so it's the pitcher's responsibility to get over there and field that if the bunt was in fair territory.
Yeah, that bunt was bunted so softly off the end of the bat. Trevor saw right away that he had no chance, and Pinto was bouncing out behind the plate pretty aggressively, so Trevor took a chance that maybe they could throw him out at third, the runner out at third, if the ball was fair. Trevor will play the speed of the ball. If the ball's bunted at him, he's got to come and get it. And you're right, Bert. That's why he's playing in and trying to take it away.
I'm anticipating he's going to lay down another bunt. I've just seen DeJesus play too much. I'm surprised he doesn't just try to bunt it to Plouffe, so Escobar can kind of walk over to third. They're just career numbers right there. Good numbers.
Correa pitching him away. DeJesus, if not bunting, will try to hook a ground ball to the right side.
Situation here where the manager will leave it in the veteran hitter's hands. He knows his job is to get the guy over to third at the very least, and you've got to do it whatever way you feel the most comfortable.
2-1. This one lifted to center.
Well, that'll do it too.
Presley makes the catch, and tagging and going to third is Escobar, one away.
Many different ways to get that guy over, but DeJesus able to do it.
Sanford Health injury report involves Twins catcher Joe Mauer. He worked out again today, and they are considering bringing him along on the road trip to Chicago and Oakland.
And you can see it's been a while since Joe, when he was, had on the 7-day concussion list back in the middle of August. Now on the disabled list.
Had a bit of a setback the other day and went home. Infield in for the Twins, and Ben Zobrist, the hitter. There's the outside corner. Correa's been trying to clip it. Finally got it. Strike one.
Ben Zobrist, one of the best fastball hitters in the American League. This guy, you just cannot throw it too hard for him. Correa going to try to get him out with movement and guile, but you certainly can't throw it too hard for him.
Right there again, 0-2.
Well, it looked like a nice breaking ball right there, clipping the corner. Now you need a strikeout. Correa has a couple strikeouts already. See if they want to go hard inside. Pinto wanted to. Pinto calling time. He looked like he went through all the signs. Correa knows what he wants to throw. And a fastball away. Keep it down.
Just missed.
Ooh. That's where you want to miss right there. Good pitch by Correa.
The other fastballs have been cut fastballs in the outside corner. That one, 91 mile per hour fastball.
Good angle right there. Not missing by much.
1-2. There's a strikeout on a check swing.
Yeah, change up right there. Good pitch right there. Good job by Correa getting that strikeout. His third of the ballgame. See, pulling the string right there. You see a little bit of sink on that changeup. Big strikeout.
Due North Thursday nights on Fox Sports North. You can join hosts Bill Shirk and Laura Schara as they take a look at the stories and adventures of outdoor enthusiasts in the upper Midwest. Due North Outdoors Thursdays at 6:30 only on Fox Sports North. James Loney hit a fly ball to right. His first time up. Correa trying to pitch around a leadoff double here in the third.
That's one thing Correa did well right there. He stepped off the rubber with Escobar at third base, kind of going up the line. If you step off and put the weight on your left foot and then step back, that's a balk.
Foul ball, Plouffe near the railing. Can't quite get there. Wasn't in the air a whole long time, and had it been up in the air a little bit longer, Plouffe would have been able to get there, I think.
He could have been able to get to the railing and then wait for the ball to come down, but this is kind of watch Plouffe right here hustle over there. Knows he's close, reaches out, just comes up a little short. Good effort.
One strike. Base hit, 2-0. So Loney with a sharp single to right. He's seen plenty of Correa when we were both in the National League. And another 2-out hit drives in another Tampa Bay run.
Well, that ball was just left up right there, and that's Loney continuing a hot bat right now with an 8-game hitting streak. But watch your location. That ball left up right there, and Loney quick bat. Finds it in the right field, picks up an RBI, his 66th of the year.
So it took a while, but the leadoff double leads to another run, and it's 2-0. Longoria hit a bouncer to short.
I'll tell you what, if you're pitching too and you have a leadoff double like that and you're able to strike out Zobrist with Escobar at third base, you know as a pitcher, I have to get this guy out because I just struck out Zobrist, and nothing more upsetting to a starting pitcher or any pitcher when you give up that 2-out hit.
One strike to Longoria. 1-1.
Well, this guy we have seen, Longoria, he can carry a ball club. The average down, but the home run production and the RBI, 29 home runs, driven in 75 runs.
Time called. Bouncer to third. Plouffe fires across to end the inning. Rays get a big 2-out hit again in the third and double the lead.
To what's next? By Grand Casino. The best stories start here. And by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, for the everyday competitor in all of us. Let's need to see Minnie and Paul shake hands tonight. They're down 2-0. Cleve Thomas will lead off the third for the Twins. Might be able to tell. There's Minnie and Paul. The Twins have hit just under 1 home run per game this year. That's, in this day and age, pretty much the minimum number of home runs you need to have a competitive lineup. 142 home runs and 145 games coming into play today. Cleve Thomas will lead off the third, and he takes up an away ball 1. Thomas getting the start in right field. He'll be followed by Escobar and Presley. Fouled away. 1-1.
Thomas, I think, Dick, one of these guys that Ron Gardenhire was talking about. He's taken a lot of third pitch call strikes.
81 strikeouts and 270 at bats. Takes it up high, 2-1. As Gardy reminded everyone in the media session today, you know, Josh Willingham's going to strike out a lot. You can put up with that because he's going to hit the ball over the fence. He's a power hitter. You expect a lot of strikeouts from power hitters.
That's he took a pitch right there that, you know, you got to be ready to swing the bat. And Thomas not a power hitter. He's kind of a line drive type hitter.
I'll tell you what surprises me, guys. It's not just the called third strikes. It's the fastballs for strikes before you get to 2 strikes that, you know, that get you into that situation to begin with. I have had a hard time figuring that out about Twins hitters, whether they get a little confused as to what the pitcher's trying to do or what they should be trying to do. But gosh, I got to tell you, for the most part, if you're looking fastball in the middle of the plate, you're going to get 1 per time up, and you got to hit it.
Thomas flips one foul. Oswaldo Arcia struck out to start the second inning, his 100th strikeout of the year. Brian Dozier 103, Pedro Florimon 105, Trevor Plouffe 101, Josh Willingham 115. Chopper to short, chest high hop for Escobar, 1 down. And that'll bring up Eduardo Escobar. You can cast your vote for the Arby's Value Player of the Game. Text the word value followed by a space in the player's name to short code 234-234. Escobar 134 at bats, and by Twin standards a very modest 25 strikeouts.
Yeah, he's a contact type guy. He'll bunt once in a while.
Strike called, says Hunter Wendelstedt.
Escobar went down to Rochester, played in 43 ball games, hit .307, and recalled on September 8th.
Foul back, 2 strikes. Well, Archer's seen his team score first here tonight. Now the second run in the top of this inning.
Getting strike 1, 7 of 9 first pitch strikes for Archer.
Foul.
Twins, when Tampa is in, of course, you're going to see good pitching. Archer, you know, very good youngster right here. Matt Moore tomorrow, and then David Price on Sunday. 2 hard-throwing lefties.
In the dirt, 1-2. Not easy when you're going from the Oakland A's to the Tampa Bay Rays if what you're looking for is a old starting pitcher just barely hanging on, because Oakland and Tampa, they've got the 2 best young rotations maybe in the game. Escobar strikes out number 2.
And strikeout number 3 in the ball game for Chris Archer.
2 down on the third. That'll bring up Presley.
Good breaking ball, good location.
Yeah, that's a great breaking ball from down here at field level, Bert. That ball went down hard. When a young kid like this that throwing 95, 96 up there to the plate, you got to get started a little bit early, and then you see that real good tight rotation, hard downward breaking curveball. That's good stuff. This kid's got a great arm.
Yeah, it's not a big curveball, but the angle created that good pitch.
Presley takes down and away, ball one.
You'd be surprised. I'm sorry, Dick. You'd be surprised how big that curveball looked down here.
Archer earlier this year ran off 5 wins and 5 starts. Now a couple of losses in a row. There's the outside corner again, 1-1.
He had a great month of July, and that's when he faced the Twins, but he had a couple shutouts too in that month. In 5 starts, he was 4-0 with an ERA of 0.73. Allowed only 3 earned runs and 37 innings pitched. Green with his catcher.
And a liner to the shortstop ends the inning. 3 up, 3 down, bottom of the 3rd. And it's 2-0. Tampa Bay.
Wow, you know what the Rays have been able to do? Get some big 2-out hits. Jennings right there with 2 outs. Drove in Myers after he doubled with 2 outs. And then with 2 outs, Lonely an RBI single. So it's a 2-0 lead. So far, Chris Archer, 3 shutout innings with 3 punch-outs.
And so we move to the 4th, 2-0. Kelly Johnson will lead things off in the 4th. Be followed by Will Myers and Desmond Jennings. Strike on the outside corner.
Johnson, one of those hitters that has had good success against Correa. Came into the ball game 9 for 25 with 5 home runs. A home run off of Correa in his start in Tampa.
To left and hit well. Mastroianni back and short of the track, makes the catch, 1 away. And that'll bring up Will Myers. Twins tickets remain available and affordable. Some seats starting at just $8. You can check out the Steal of the Week and demand-based pricing for more great deals on single games for the rest of the season. These and other special deals available every day of the week at twinsbaseball.com/tickets or by calling 800-33-TWINS. Will Myers rocketed a line drive to right field. Clee Thomas kind of got frozen for a second, then had to reach to try to glove it. He did that. He just didn't keep the ball in the glove and went for a double. And then on the next pitch, Jennings looped a single into center field. Just like that, it was 1-0.
Yeah, Myers only 22 years old, coming over from the Kansas City Royal organization for James Shields and Wade Davis. Started the season down at AAA, got called up on June 18th.
One strike. The news, best news in the Twins organization this past week was that Byron Buxton was named the minor league player of the year by Baseball America. Will Myers won it last year for the Kansas City Royals. And they traded, the Royals did, Myers to the Rays to get some pitching.
Joe Mauer won it 1 year.
Delman Young won it years ago. And so, you know, off the cuff, you'd try to draw comparisons. There's Delman with the Rays again. You say, well, it'd be akin to the Twins trading Byron Buxton, but not quite, because Buxton won the award this year as a Class A ball player. Myers won it last year as a AAA ball player. 1 and 2. So the Rays acquired Myers knowing he was right there, ready to break through into the big leagues the next year. And Buxton might be a year or so away. 2 and 2 to Myers. Hit hard to center field. Presley short of the track, out number 2.
That's where you want them to hit it, right there, right center, left center, straightaway center, deepest part of the field here at Target Field for the second out.
Desmond Jennings drove in the first run with a single to center. The Royals, Myers' former organization, one of the teams putting some heat on the Tampa Bay Rays. You look at the divisional races. Well, in the National League, things are congested in the National League Central, but it's very likely all 3 of the teams fighting for the division lead will get into the playoffs. 2 wild card winners and a division winner. The other 2 divisions are wide open. The playoff field in the National League isn't set, but you got a pretty good idea which of the 5 teams are going to be there.
Yeah, the Cardinals in Cincinnati behind the Pirates. One of those 2, all 3 of those teams will be there.
Escobar's throw sails wide. It'll be an error, allowing the Rays another base runner with 2 out. The Rays defense behind him has not been very tidy here.
Well, the ball hits sharply to Escobar. He goes to his right, has plenty of time to set and make a good throw, but see a throw way off the mark. And Dozier, you see the second baseman right there on your screen, backing up the play. Right off the tip of the glove of Parmalee, but his foot came off the bag anyway. It'll be an error on Escobar, his 5th of the year.
Escobar's got a really good arm, Bird. That ball sailed on him, and it even fooled Parmalee. You saw him stay on the bag. He thought he was going to catch that ball, and the ball just kept right.
Here's Jose Molina, called out on strikes, and he takes strike 1.
Bob Feller used to call that pitch the old sailor. It just sailed on him, the old Navy pitch. Thought I'd get Bob Feller in there.
Appreciate that.
I miss him.
Swing and a miss. 2 strikes.
Wow, this is what, as a pitcher, you know, when your team makes an error behind you, you want to pick them up right here. Get this out. Molina.
Up and away.
Correa's making his 2nd start this season against the Rays. This is his 3rd career start against the Rays. He started once against them when he was with the Padres back in 2010. Got a no decision in a Padre win. Both those starts coming in St. Pete.
And Molina strikes out. This time the Rays don't strike with 2 outs. It's a 2-0 ball game.
I'm Marnie Gellner with Timberwolves forward Dante Cunningham in the crowd tonight wearing his Twins ball cap, no less. Dante, training camp starts 2 weeks from Monday. I know I don't have to tell you that. What are you busy doing right now to get ready for that?
Well, every morning I'm in the gym, getting a good lift in, getting a good workout in every night, going back and getting just a lot of shots and a lot of reps of, spots I'm going to be on the court and, where I'm feel comfortable at.
The Wolves are getting healthy. We saw a lot of injuries last season, but now Kevin Love, Ricky Rubio, Chase Budinger, you add a couple of pieces in Corey Brewer and Kevin Martin. You had Flip Saunders to the front office. There's a lot to be excited about.
It's going to be a very exciting year. We're going to have a lot of guys coming back. We have a lot of guys coming in. We just have a whole group of guys ready to go, ramped up for a great season. There's no telling what this group can do just because we haven't seen this group all together work yet. So when we have everyone coming out of training camp healthy, it's going to be an awesome year.
We look forward to seeing it. Thanks, Dante. See you soon.
Thank you very much.
Dick and Bert, Dante Cunningham, forward for the Timberwolves.
Hey, Marnie, he looks good in that hat, too.
Doesn't he?
Very nice, yes.
Bert likes your hat. He thinks you sport it pretty well.
I just bought it here, actually.
See if we can get one of those blaze orange ones.
We're going to hook you up with a blaze orange before you leave.
I swear I was going to tell you I wasn't going to do it until I got one, but I really want one of those.
We'll get you one.
I'll have Bert pay for
You can have mine.
I appreciate it.
Good luck to the Timberwolves, man. I hope they have a great year. Hope they stay healthy.
Now, the next time you go deer hunting or pheasant hunting.
I've never been deer hunting. I've been pheasant hunting.
That doesn't surprise me at all. You went pheasant hunting?
Once. When I was, I think, 19 or 20 years old during the winter caravan, they took me pheasant hunting. And Dick, they said that I shot a bird because, you flush them out, and I shot my shotgun.
Right.
And they said I hit it. And then we went clay pigeon shooting after. I didn't hit one.
Yeah.
So I knew I didn't get the bird.
Who'd you go with? Who was nice enough to take you?
Shorty Deco. I remember his name. Way up north somewhere.
Yeah. Okay.
A gentleman named Shorty Deco. It's the only time I've ever shot a gun.
2-2. The count to Osmil Pinto.
Watch Archer right here named Molina. Molina kind of looking out saying, he slipped. But, come on, stay on your feet. Sometimes you land, and I mentioned that, Kevin Correa seems like he stretches out a little bit further than Archer. Sometimes you might hit his little hole right there, and that's where you can slip. I pulled a groin one time when Billy Butler for the Twins was creating a big hole. Nice play right there by their Escobar.
Pinto retired, one down. And that'll bring up Brian Dozier.
Yeah, Butler had dug a deep hole. There was a left-handed pitcher for the Twins, and I was facing the Twins, and his holes, I kept filling it in, and I ended up landing in that hole and pulling a groin muscle.
Billy Butler?
Yeah, I believe that was his first name. Left-handed pitcher back in 1977.
Yeah.
Because my next outing, I pitched a no-hitter.
Really?
With the Texas Rangers. I was on a disabled list.
Bill Butler.
Bill Butler.
74, 75, and 77.
Left-handed pitcher. Hard thrower.
1 strike to Brian Dozier. Fly ball center field. And Jennings over a few steps. 2 down in the 4th inning. Famed car customizer Ryan Frietlinghouse and his crew at West Coast Customs continue to take common vehicles from ordinary to extraordinary in West Coast Customs. Each episode brings viewers inside one of the most dynamic car shops in the world. A new episode coming up on Sunday. 2 down quickly here in the 4th. And that'll bring up Arcia. Mentioned Arcia struck out his first time up. The 100th strikeout of his rookie season. In just over 300 at bats. Swing and a miss.
But I think what the Twins see in him, like you mentioned about with Willingham, he's going to swing and miss a lot, but they want to see some power. He's got potential power.
Up and away, 1-1.
Guys, I think he has 25 to 30 home run power potentially. He can really put a charge in the ball, and it's just going to be a question of his maturation process in the big leagues. I don't think he has anything more to prove in the minor leagues. It's just a question of getting used to the pitchers and learning what he has to do at the plate to be more consistent. But he's got awesome power. They were telling me that he used to hit a lot of his home runs to left field and left center as well. He certainly has that kind of power. I'd sure like to see him do that, go that direction a little bit more. It would keep him from swinging at those breaking balls in the dirt if you were waiting just a little bit longer.
The changeup right there that Arcia took.
I just tried to do some quick math, and you can't do it, of course. But if you took all the strikeouts out of the season for the Twins, they're hitting over 300 on balls put in play. As a team, they're hitting over 300. This is a team that's hitting 242 on the season. But if you factored out the strikeouts, they're hitting over 300. Another strikeout for Arcia. A 1, 2, 3, 4.
But I like strikeout. see Archer right there talking to his catcher Molina. I like that. Good communication.
It'll be Yunel Escobar leading off the 5th against Kevin Correa. First pitch pop foul, back into the seats. Talked about the American League wild card race. Team trying to be a factor in the National League wild card race. The Washington Nationals are 6 games off of a spot right now, but they had to scratch Steven Strasburg today from his start. The ball hit to center, and Escobar has a base hit.
His second hit of the ball game.
And Escobar threatens to go to second. He'll hold up with a single, but Strasburg scratched because of a forearm issue, which sounds a little ominous. Leadoff hit in the 5th for Yunel Escobar. He got a leadoff double, later scored a run in the 3rd.
Well, Escobar's double went to left center. This one here just kind of fought off and hit it softly into right center. Quick bat right there. Got the barrel out.
David DeJesus will hit. Struck out in the 1st, hit a fly ball to center in the 3rd.
5th hit for the Tampa Bay Rays against Correa. Let's see if he can get a ground ball. It's got to be a quick one here. DeJesus out of that box pretty quickly, but Correa's had 24 double plays turned behind him this year. Tied for most in the American League.
Strike over the inside corner, and DeJesus jumped back from the pitch.
Pitchers and catchers need to be aware of hitters' reactions at the plate. Anytime you see a hitter up there that jumps back that aggressively from a pitch that's close, he's not looking for the ball inside. He's looking for it out over the plate.
And this one off the plate, 1-1.
Yeah, change up right there that he tried to turn over. Correa making his 188th Major League start, his 319th Major League appearance, 69 Major League wins, ERA at 4.51.
10 or more Major League wins in each of the last 4 seasons, and he picked up number 9 a couple starts ago. A fly ball center field, hit almost right at Presley. 1 away. And that'll bring up Ben Zobrist. The Twins gave Correa a 2-year deal, and he came to Minnesota, and he's pitched like he did with the National League teams he's pitched for before. See the high number of ground ball double plays. Part of that because he does give up hits. Usually doesn't walk too many guys.
Yeah, most innings he's pitched in a season came in 2009 with the Padres when he worked 198 innings. Last year 171 with the Pirates, 12 wins. He's won 12, the most he's won in one season 3 times, another time 11. Excuse me, 10. Looking for his 10th win here tonight.
1 strike to Zobrist. In retrospect, you can look at Correa's first year with the Twins, particularly early in the season, and I think you could make the case that he's the only guy who was in the Twins starting rotation. They really didn't have something to prove, physically or otherwise. Pelfrey coming back from Tommy John surgery. Scott Diamond had an elbow procedure done in December and was a little slow in coming back. There goes the runner at first, and the pitch driven foul. But Vance Worley had some arm issues last year, and he was trying to prove that he was healthy coming back, and so on and so forth. There you see Samuel DeDuno on the left. He's scheduled now for surgery on Wednesday. He's going to have an arthroscopic procedure on his shoulder. Correa was the one known commodity, and he's done what he's done elsewhere. He's got an ERA, in the low 4s.
Yeah, with a little extra run support, his record probably would be better than it is right now at 9-11.
That ball kicks away from Pinto, and Escobar will go to second.
Let's take a look at this pitch. If that's a wild pitch, that'll be the first wild pitch for Correa. It's a ball that Pinto probably should have kept in front of him a little bit better than he did. And it will be a wild pitch, and that's Correa's first wild pitch of the year.
2-2 to Zobrist. Check swing, 3-2.
There's not been a walk in this ball game for either side yet. Correa with 4 strikeouts. Archer with 4.
Oakland's opened up a 6-2 lead over Texas.
That's a big series. I mean, the Rangers have really been struggling as of late. Could allow maybe Kansas City and the Cleveland Indians to catch them.
Correa misses the outside corner, his first walk, first and second one down. And that'll bring up Loney. Fly ball to right and a single to right, driving in the second Tampa Bay run.
Yeah, that singles with that ball up. Now this is where Correa really needs that sinker down and away. Okay, Dante, my hat that we got up here. He looked good in the Twins hat. Looks pretty good in that orange hat too.
Yeah. If by giving him your hat, it kept the fields of Minnesota safe from you wanting to go pheasant hunting again, I think that was a great deal. 1-0 to Loney.
This where as a pitcher, when you have a sinker like Correa, you have to keep pounding it down and away, and hopefully he'll hit that ground ball out. Don't want to make a mistake up right here. Loney with an 8-game hitting streak where he's hitting over 333, but need a ground ball right here. He's hit into 14 double plays.
1-0. Liner to Plouffe. It'll be a line drive, double play, and he missed second base.
Wow.
Plouffe looked across at first, and he had a double play waiting for him at second.
Yeah, I think he forgot that there was a man on second base. Definitely a mental mistake by Trevor Plouffe. He was looking over at first base. So Taylor made double play right there. Escobar too far off the bag. Just flip it to Dozier instead. Runners go back to their base. Let's hope that does not hurt the Twins with Evan Longoria coming up.
Kevin Correa is a pitch to contact pitcher. To succeed as that type of pitcher, you need your defense to be sharp, and the Twins defense has not been sharp tonight.
Oh yeah, I see.
Well, there's not an error on that play. That's kind of a mental error that kind of sometimes will go overlooked if he can get Longoria out right here. But it's one more batter he has to face in this type of situation. Hopefully he can. Correa can get Longoria out right here.
Breaking ball missing down and in.
It happens. That's part of the game. So now you got to bear down and pick up Trevor Plouffe right here. And then in the dugout, ask him, what are you thinking?
1-0. And Anthony's 1-1.
Good change up there. Of course, as a pitcher, you're watching the play. You know where the runners are. Watch Kevin Correa right here. Okay, second base. Okay. All right, all said and done. Now get back on the mound and make some good pitches.
Longoria way out in front of a breaking ball, 1-2. Escobar at second, Zobrist at first. Correa trying to keep this a 2-0 ball game. Just off the corner.
Just missing. With that open stance.
There it is. And Kevin Correa does a nice job tiptoeing around a jam. And it's still a 2-0 ball game.
And he picked up his defense.
Circle, and we have $100 worth of scratch-off tickets courtesy of the Minnesota Lottery for Cam, who's from Marshall, his dad, his cousin, and his brother-in-law. They're all family members in Blaze Orange. You got the caps to match tonight. What's behind the outfit?
You know, it's a guys' night out, a Twins game, and we thought, how can we get on TV so our kids can see us at home? And sure enough, we're in Blaze Orange. I hope they're watching right now or in bed, one of the two. And we're just happy to be here.
Everybody wave to the camera. Say hi to your kids.
Hi, guys. Hello. Hope you're sleeping.
Guys, a family of four, they wore the Blaze Orange outfits knowing they were getting the Blaze Orange cap for a getaway tonight. A nice touch.
Very nice.
Yeah, I see them right down here. Have them wave up here, too, Marnie. Hi, guys. All right, very good.
Well, Marshall, Minnesota, it's pretty good pheasant country down in the southwest part of the state. 1-0 to Trevor Plouffe. He'll be followed by Chris Parmalee and Darren Mastron.
We had Marshall during the winter caravan almost every year.
Oh, is that right? You always get the Sun Belt in January.
That's okay.
I get Roseau and Fargo and.
I've been up to International Falls up that way. Always fun. Meet a lot of great fans.
Hit to right and retreating is Myers, one away. Always have a great time in the caravan. I think I went to Roseau back-to-back years.
And they had you back?
Yeah. And At least one of those years we went.
There won't be a third.
This is years ago. We went up to Onola, Manitoba, to Corey Koski's hometown. We went all the way up into Canada.
I hope Corey went with you.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Good.
One down. Here's Chris Parmalee. It's kind of the whole point, actually.
Really?
Once we got Pierzynski through customs, it was a great time.
Should have left him up there.
One strike to Parmalee. Mastroianni will hit next. Twins with a couple of hits, Rays with 5, and the only 2 runs on Tampa Bay's ledger. Outside. Parmalee called out on strikes, and he too has struck out too often this year. 68 strikeouts and 251 at bats. I want to ask you this because you've watched the Twins play an awful lot this year. I mean, does it matter if these guys, Parmalee last year, shredded AAA pitching? So we know he can hit.
Right. Well, he went down and really struggled at AAA, and that pitch right there. You know what, Dick, and I don't mean to interrupt you, but Roy's down there being a hitter. I want to ask Roy. We have seen that Parmalee, for some reason, Roy, is slow on that fastball. He doesn't seem to want to catch up to it. Is there a reason why?
Yeah, there really is, in my opinion, Bert. He misses. To your point, he's either swung and missed or fouled off so many pitches just like that one.
Right. Yeah.
And it almost invariably is mechanics with hitters. He's got a little bit of a quick hit, what I would call, and what hitters call a quick hip, and he starts a little bit open. He closes up as he strides, and then his hip flies a little bit. And that opens him up. It's like you talk about the pitcher's arm dragging. And see that how quick he was there?
And he'll get an infield hit.
So he was already open, and his body weight going toward first base or the Twins dugout, and then he didn't have much left for that swing when it wasn't the speed he was looking for. But when you're quick with your hip like that, it slows your bat down. Watch his front hip a little bit. He's open, and then he just doesn't have anything left.
Right, a good point right there.
See, here he comes now. He opens up real quickly, and with his lower body, and he's got nothing left on the swing and on the breaking ball, and it also slows it down on a fastball, just like you've talked about so much, Bert, when a pitcher opens up too soon and his arm is caught back behind him.
Well, you see that ground ball right there? I mean, if Archer lets that ball go like he did on Pinto in the first inning, that ball got a piece of the Mastroianni, and he'll get first base. But if he lets that ball go, that's an easy out because who's running? And that's Parmalee. Right. But instead, he tried to get that ball and it hit off his glove for an infield base hit for Parmalee. So a couple runners on.
Mastroianni squared to bunt. Lucky again hit him in the collarbone.
Might have hit him in the chest. Let's take a look right here.
Yeah, they got him right over the heart.
8th hit batsman for Archer. That ball kind of came running in on Mastroianni.
Best scoring chance the Twins have had, and the 8 and 9 batters are due up next. They've got to get something out of this. This has not been an offense, a lineup that can regularly, or at least as recently, regularly threaten to score runs. A quick trip to the mound by Jim Hickey.
Jim Hickey's done a very good job with a lot of his young pitchers and effort to try to settle his right-hander down.
Bit of a smile with Hunter Wendelstedt. We'll see what Thomas can get done. He tapped out to short his first time out. But the question I was going to ask you and Roy, is it a matter of so many of these guys, are they simply overmatched up here? Is it that simple?
No, I don't think so. They're trying too hard. Because I think when you hit a AA or AAA, you can hit up here. Believe it. I believe that, Roy. Hopefully you do too.
Yeah, I think the difference is that up here you see guys that can exploit the weaknesses that are found every night. Whereas AAA, if you can hit down there There are times when you're going to see pitchers that just aren't quite the same caliber as you saw the night before. But up here, you know, the consistency of really, really good stuff and guys that can throw the ball a little bit more consistently where they want to is a lot different. And what will happen a lot, and you're right, Bert, about it trying too hard or the mental aspect of the game, you can get yourself all messed up by thinking too much, even when guys are working on you a little bit.
Pitches up high, 1-2 to Clete Thomas.
You know, not everybody has perfect hitting mechanics. Excuse me, Jake. Not every, you know, I'm not saying that every time a guy struggles up here it's because, you know, he needs to have better hitting mechanics. But we all could have, you know, better hitting mechanics. There are very few guys that are perfect. But up here, when they start exploiting some of your weaknesses, it's how you react to that. Bert, you talk about making adjustments all the time. And you have to be able to continue to work on your weaknesses, but also, like we talked about Arcia, just take those high fastballs for a while. Don't swing at those and get yourself in bad counts. There's little things you can do just to compete better, you know. But up here, it tends to get to your brain a little bit.
Hardest thing to do is hit a round ball with a round bat coming in at about 94 like that right there. And Thomas had a good swing. They foul is straight back, and we've seen a lot of that too. I mean, they're right on it, and then they foul it straight back. Even Justin did that for a long time.
1-2 to Clete Thomas. Just need a hit here. Double might tie the ball game. Sailing wide, 2-2.
4 fastballs so far for Thomas. For Archer. Escobar on deck.
Clete's another guy that's better on low fastballs than high fastballs.
And there's what we're talking about. He took strike 3. Good changeup right there. After 4 straight fastballs at 94, he throws an 83-mile-an-hour changeup, and that just froze Thomas. So Archer picking up a big strikeout.
But see, the thing is, when you get to 2 strikes, here, as you see, that's just a great pitch. I mean, it really is a good changeup, but not an unhittable one if you're willing to give up cheating on the fastball a little bit and just wait a little bit longer. And as you guys were talking about, protecting the plate a little bit. You have to change your approach when you get to 2 strikes. You can't just assume it's going to be a fastball.
There's another changeup, a swing and a miss. It seems like, Roy and Bert, that there are a lot of hitters, and I suppose most of it can be due to inexperience. But you've got a guy who's thrown 96, and I think we even saw 97 once from Archer. And a changeup, 82 was the last one, I believe. 1 strike to Escobar, fouled back. And so the Twins hitters are geared for something in between, instead of getting up either for the 97-mile-per-hour fastball or allowing for the 82-mile changeup. They're ready to swing at something 91 that doesn't exist.
Well, believe me, when a guy's throwing 96 or 97, it's really hard mentally to say, I'm going to wait a long time and make sure it's not something else. But, I mean, it is. Hitting, it's hard.
Outside, 1-2.
But you have to do it. You have to make yourself have an approach at the plate that will give you the best chance to cover all of the plate and all of the different pitches that he might throw. There's going to be one pitch that you can't hit. I mean, there is always going to be that one. You got to figure out what the best odds of hitting most of it.
And a fastball.
Oh, another changeup.
86 miles per hour, taken for a call, 3rd strike. And the Twins leave 2 aboard in the 5th.
start the 6th inning now. And we have been asking you tonight to share with us some of your favorite baseball superstitions. It is Friday the 13th, so we asked you to tweet using the hashtag baseball13th. And we have a tweet from Zach Kalbrum, who tweeted, "Never wash the luck out of the uniform." Hopefully that still means wash the uniform. Yes, I think Roy was talking about that earlier, but put the same uniform on. You win a game, you put the same socks on, same shoes, go through the same routine. Dick and Bert, you guys have been talking tonight about some baseball superstitions, and we continue the topic with our Grand Casino Social Spotlight all night tonight.
Yeah, I was a little surprised that Roy said he actually washed his lucky shirt, because I remember Roy in the clubhouse when he walked in, you pretty much knew where he was.
Wow. And Roy's not on the microphone anymore.
That's why I said it.
1-1 to the leadoff man here in the 6th. Kelly Johnson is 0 for 2. He's had great success against Correa. And now the count 2-1.
Well, Kevin's only given up 3 hits. They just kind of came with 2 outs. The RBI single with a runner at second base in the 2nd, and then the RBI single in the 3rd inning, scoring the 2nd run.
3-1.
Did a good job getting out of the 5th inning. And with 80 pitches, 48 strikes for Correa, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts.
Foul back, 3-2. Would you agree that the Twins have gotten what they had every reason to expect out of Correa this year?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, again, no run support here today. 5 shutout innings so far put on the board against the Twins offense. So Correa trying to keep the game right at 2-0. Hopefully Twins can do something later in the game.
Ouch. And Correa over to Parmalee, 1 away. That'll bring up Will Myers. If you're looking for something extra special to take home after a game at Target Field, check out the kiosk at the ballpark that has a vast array of game-used merchandise, from bats to balls to jerseys. All items used in a game here at the ballpark. Next time you're at a ball game, stop by, find something unique. Game-used spikes. It's another thing that's changed. When you came up in 1970, I'm assuming the Minnesota Twins equipped you with a pair of spikes?
No, you had to buy your own.
You had to buy your own?
Yes.
Okay.
Rydell shoes. They were expensive. They're like $70-80 a piece. Remember,
back then?
We only made, minimum was $10,000. Yeah, they were expensive shoes.
So now, you didn't have a shoe contract then in 1970?
No.
And you probably had to take care of your shoes.
Oh, yes. I didn't put any of them on fire or anything like that.
Someone else's, perhaps, but not yours.
No, I didn't do it. Once companies started giving shoes out and laces, that's when I started.
1-0, and now inside.
No, the art to a good hot foot is not getting the shoe, it's the laces.
Right.
You can always buy laces. See, I'd get that little lace sticking out right there. Fire in the hole.
2-0. The Rays, if they're not careful, might see the Kansas City Royals pass them. And all the analysis that has been made about the trade, the Rays trading a veteran pitcher, and now Myers up with the big club. There's a called strike.
Good pitch.
The Rays in the driver's seat for a playoff spot. No one considered that the Royals might get into the playoffs and the Rays might not.
I'll tell you what Kansas City did. They went out and got starting pitching, and they have the best pitching staff in the American League right now as far as combined ERA, with their starters and the very good bullpen.
2-2.
And that's why they are where they're at right now in the race for that wild card race.
And therein is the dilemma for Terry Ryan and every other general manager in the game. You can do what Kansas City did, but at what cost? Will Myers wins the Rookie of the Year award, and if the Rays are in the playoffs and the Royals aren't, then there'll be even more heat heaped on Dayton Moore for making the trade.
You'd like to say that Shields and maybe Davis are two guys that helped Kansas City get to where they're at. I mean, Kansas City hadn't been where they're at in a long, long time. You know, many years.
Right.
So crowd-wise, fan-wise, they like to see that.
3-2 to Will Myers. Breaking ball and Plouffe. Catch out number 2.
Yeah, a little soft line right there. Looked like an off-speed pitch. Myers got the barrel of the bat out, but hit it softly.
And now Desmond Jennings. Jennings with an RBI single in the second, reached on an Escobar error with 2 outs in the 4th. Breaking ball breaks over the inside corner.
You know, in today's game of quality start, 6 innings or 30 earned runs or less. Correa has 15 of those. A little run support, he probably could have 13, 14 wins.
High fly to left. Mastroianni over to make a catch, and Correa has a 1-2-3, 6th inning.
Archer with 6 strikeouts in a ball game, throwing off that good fastball and then getting some strikeouts on changeups. And Molina, the veteran catcher, doing a good job of handling the youngster.
And Archer will face the top of the Twins order, Presley, Pinto, and Dozier in the 6th. This game a very winnable game for the Twins, in part because Kevin Correa is gunning it out here. He's actually pitched pretty well, and he's had to pitch through some difficulty that wasn't his own doing.
Yeah, he's only given up 4 hits, so, you know, a couple 2-out hits in the 2nd and 3rd inning. That's it, but not much offense for the Twins.
See if they can execute here in the 6th. Whether it's executing a bunt hit, running some bases, doing whatever here. Presley, Pinto, and Dozier have seen Archer a couple of times now. Presley started the ball game with a hit. Takes outside, ball 1. Detroit beat Kansas City 6-3. Justin Verlander picked up the win over Bruce Chen.
Bruce Chen had been pitching very well. Verlander had been struggling.
Fastball taken for a strike. Down and away, 1-2.
Archer, 24 years old, making his 24th major league start. He has 9 wins, 10 losses in his career, 3.49 earned run average. A couple complete games, both shutouts, both of them coming in July of this year. One against the Astros, and then a really good one in New York, a 2-hit shutout against the Yankees.
On the ground to Escobar. 1 down. And that'll bring up Pinto. Righty and a lefty warming up. With Archer's pitch count at 75. On the screen, 75 on the tally here at the ballpark. 2 ground balls to short for Pinto. Ground ball double play in the first. And strike 1.
Well, 20 batters, 15 first pitch strikes for Archer. 14 first pitch strikes.
Hacked foul, 2 strikes.
Oh, nice grab by that fan. Reached out his paw and able to snare that line drive.
See what Pinto can do with 2 quick strikes. Checked his swing, 1-2. Baltimore beat Toronto 5-3. The Orioles in the wild card hunt. Texas is losing. Boston leading New York 8-4 late in that game. 1-2 to Pinto.
Yeah, the Rays have found where they're at right now because they have lost 13 of their last 18 ball games coming into this 3-game series.
A little weak ground ball, but Pinto does put it in play. 2 down. And that'll bring up Dozier. Fox Sports is proud to team with Feeding America, a nationwide network of food banks that helps feed more than 37 million people in America each year through pantries, soup kitchens, and shelters. Visit feedingamerica.org/Fox Sports. Learn how you can fight hunger in your community. And together we're feeding America. 2 down in the 6th. Dozier with a couple of fly balls to center field. One of them hit pretty well.
No problem. We need to keep an eye out.
One strike to Dozier. 1-1.
Twins have only 3 hits against Archer with 2 outs here in the 6th inning. Kind of what he did in that ball game earlier this year in July. He worked 6 innings, gave up only 3 hits, and the run that the Twins got off of him was an unearned run.
Two and 1. Mentioned earlier, Dozier has struck out more than 100 times, 103 times. He has drawn 46 walks. That's 3rd on the team behind Mauer and Willingham.
Well, should get a hittable pitch right here. Archer has not walked anybody. Molina setting a little bit off the corner of the plate. Looked like a little breaking ball or changeup. Here's strike 2.
Full count with 2 down, and RC on deck.
Wow.
And an awkward swing by Dozier and a strikeout in the 1-2-3-6. that led to a couple of runs.
Yeah, a couple 2-out hits for the Rays. One coming in the second inning. That off the bat of Jennings scored the first run, and then with 2 outs, Lowry getting a base hit. But young Chris Archer doing his thing. 7 strikeouts, no walks in the ballgame, allowed only 3 hits to the Twins.
Pitching matchup. You can see Correa's pitched well. Archer hasn't given the Twins much to work with. And Correa's still out there to start the 7th inning. First pitch hammered past Plouffe down the line. Molina will have a single. And he's going to try for 2. Here's the throw. And it is a double. You take nothing for granted when a Molina is running. And another double. Another lead-off double for the Rays here in the 7th.
Yeah, the 12th double of the year for Molina. You see that pitch left middle over the plate, and Trevor Plouffe, by the time he could react to it, it got by him into the corner. Mastroianni, you see how far he was playing him towards center field. Has to get it in the corner. And then to throw a little bit on the infield side, and Molina, a stand-up double.
Yunel Escobar will bat. Escobar with a pair of hits already, including a leadoff double of his own and a run scored in the 3rd.
Another possible bunt, maybe? Nope.
Off the glove of Dozier, and it will allow Molina to scamper around 3rd to the extent a Molina can scamper. And Escobar will go to 2nd with a double.
Then Presley picked up the ball and threw it to the wrong guy. He threw it to Dozier rather than Escobar, who was at second base.
3-0.
Escobar just hitting it the other way, gets rewarded with a base hit off of Dozier's glove that caroms into center field. And then Presley picks up the ball and then fires it to Dozier rather than Escobar, as the other Escobar slides in safely for an RBI double.
Rick Anderson to the mound. Number 9 batter for the Rays has 3 hits, a couple of impactful ones, a pair of doubles. And the Rays strike quickly here in the 7th with Caleb Thielbar warming up.
Longest outing of the year for Kevin Correa. That came 8 innings. That came in late April against the Texas Rangers here when he pitched 8 shutout innings in a 5-0 win. Molina and Archer again talking. If you're a young kid right there, why you have to sit and you have to pick the brains of Molina. How many different guys he has caught over his career.
Down and away, we're told Archer's been given the pats on the back and the handshakes and all that signify he's done for the day.
Good job by the young man.
1-0 to De Jesus. Popped up, backing out of play.
Sounds perfect.
As we go through the Tampa Bay bullpen this weekend. One guy we probably won't see, but he should be able to help them soon, is former Twin Jesse Crane. He hasn't thrown a pitch for the Rays since being acquired from the White Sox.
He's had that shoulder problem. He had that shoulder problem when he was with the Chicago White Sox.
1-1. And now 1-2. Crane was having his finest year. The final year of his deal with the White Sox. A run in the 2nd, a run in the 3rd, and a quick one here in the 7th. Hope to left, a base hit. hold the runner at third. Mastroianni fires it into second.
Well, he saw that the runner was held up. That's why he threw the ball into second base.
3 straight hits to start the 7th inning, and that'll bring up Ben Zobrist, and it'll bring out Ron Gardenhire.
And Jesus picking up his first hit.
Correa had caught a bit of a second wind, 3rd time through the lineup, and given up a hit the 3rd time through the lineup, but 3 quick ones here in the 7th. And he is done for the night. And Thielbar will pitch next for the Twins. Alligators in the water in Fort Myers, Florida. Spring training. You can travel to sunny Fort Myers and join the Twins on the official spring training fan experience. One-stop shopping for game tickets, hotel accommodations, as well as exclusive pregame meet and greet with players, front office staff, and other personalities. 612-276-3824. Don't worry about them. They never come out of the water. If you're on dry land, alligators will leave you alone. Or go to twinsbaseball.com for more info. At least that's what I've been told.
Really? I would suggest not finding out. Stay away from them. Caleb Thielbar coming in, making his 43rd relief appearance. He last worked here on Tuesday against the Oakland A's. Pitched well, an inning and 2/3, gave up only 1 hit in the 4-3 win over the A's. The only win the Twins had in that 3-game series. Caleb has done a great job in his rookie season. You saw the numbers on Thielbar. Very good earned run average at 1.83. Only 22 hits allowed in the 39 1/3 innings pitched.
And Correa's numbers for this start will depend on Thielbar pulling the Twins out of this jam without any further damage. Just not a I mean, I thought Kevin Correa battled today. I thought he gave the Twins a competitive start. His defense didn't do him many favors.
You know, when you look back at an outing and you say, boy, I'd like to have 1 or 2 pitches back, you pitched pretty good. You know, rather than, I mean, through 96 pitches in 6+ innings. He probably, I'm sure, would have liked to have gone through the 7th inning without any trouble.
Zobrist, the batter, 0 for 2 with a walk.
Zobrist now hitting as a right-handed hitter.
Squeeze play, and it's bunted in the air. Parmalee with the catch, and they'll get a double play. The veteran Zobrist popped it in the air. And a runner at third, Escobar, was charging home.
Well, Joe Madden trying a little trick play right there, but Zobrist, who had hit a home run against Thielbar back in Tampa, squares around, pops it up. Parmalee sees it high enough to allow Parmalee come in, make the catch. And Escobar is out at third.
quick pursuit, able to make a nice catch, start a double play, and now Loney will bat. And DeJesus spun his wheels a bit, but he got back.
Well, hopefully that'll be a big double play as the Twins have 3 more hopefully good at bats against the bullpen of the Rays.
Over for a strike. Joe Madden, like a lot of managers, you like to put a play on the first pitch, figuring a pitcher's going to come in, he's going to throw a strike, as Thielbar did. And Zobrist just couldn't get the bunt down. A miss at the high fastball, 0-2. Loney with a fly to right, an RBI single in the 3rd, and then with a threat brewing in the 5th. 1st and 2nd, only 1 out. Loney lashed a line drive to Plouffe, who had a double play in front of him, but did not acknowledge the runner at second base, who was about 30 feet off the bag. Now they've got the runner picked off. And a pretty good yet interesting inning for Thielbar. He came in to get Zobrist and Loney and ends up with a pop-up bunt for a double play and a pickoff.
Of the Minnesota Twins that may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Minnesota Twins LLC.
Wow, we had a special treat here. We had a very special singer for Take Me Out to the Ball Game. Keith Partridge.
Was he really?
David Cassidy. Do you remember the Partridge family?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, well, he just sang Take Me Out to the Ball Game. There he is.
I'll be darned. I just saw him on a TV show about a week ago.
A new one or the Partridge family?
No, just a talk show.
Okay.
He looks good in the Twins uniform.
All right. Well, the Twins somehow got out of that inning with just 1 run allowed. How's that for inherited runners? Thielbar comes in with runners at 1st and 3rd, and he's a -2. He didn't strand him, he got him out.
That'll be Jake McGee coming in to start the 7th inning. See the numbers on McGee in his 4th season with the Rays.
Arcia to lead off the 7th. Middle of the Twins lineup, and Arcia takes strike 1.
McGee, a hard-throwing lefty, 57 innings pitched, 69 strikeouts.
Skied near third base. One away. Longoria with the catch. And that'll bring up Trevor Plouffe.
Plouffe got the first hit for the Twins. Excuse me, second hit for the Twins. Let off the one-out base hit in the second inning.
Foul back. One strike. Plouffe will be followed by Parmalee. And strike two taken. 0-2. Presley warming up. Foul back, and it's still two strikes. Red Sox beat the Yankees 8-4.
Boston's playing good baseball, aren't they? That's our 90th win of the year.
So the Rays, with a lead here, have a chance to move ahead of the Rangers. They're trailing 9-2 in the sixth inning in Arlington. The Yankees have lost. The Indians won 3-1 over Chicago. Baltimore's won. Kansas City's lost. Rolled through the right side. Not hit well at all, but Plouffe with a base hit, one down in the seventh. And that'll bring up Parmalee.
Yeah, Plouffe gets his second hit. All three times he's been up, everything's been to right field.
MLB.com @BAD is celebrating 5 years as your #1 mobile app for live baseball. Available for iPhone, iPad, Android, BlackBerry 10, and Windows Phone 8. @BAD delivers Twins baseball with live audio, pitch tracking, stats, highlights, and more. Text @BAD to 31826 or visit twinsbaseball.com for details. Chris Colabello is going to hit for Chris Parmalee. Parmalee had gone 1 for 2 with a single.
Right-handers actually hitting lower than left-handers against McGee. Right-handers hitting only 203 against Jake McGee. Right-handers came into this ball game hitting 233.
Big swing and a miss. At a 97-mile-per-hour fastball.
This is a left-hander that averages about 95 to 97. You can see the difference in the numbers.
Colabello gets time. Plenty of power for Colabello. Contact has been an issue for him as well. 138 at bats and 49 strikeouts. One and one.
I think what we've seen from Colabello, a guy that had a great year down in AAA, but you kind of see where he's a little tardy with that fastball. They could throw that fastball by him.
One and two.
197-mile-an-hour fastball.
Colabello trying to get on base somehow, maybe hit it over the fence. We get Mastroianni to the plate. Twins down by 3. Haven't done much offensively. Another call, third strike, 2 down. Twins batters have struck out. How many did Archer have?
He had 7.
7. 3 of those were looking. So now this is the 8th strikeout, and half of them have been called third strikes.
Right. Oh, another fastball at 97. Great location. But another call for a strike, like you mentioned.
2 down. And Mastroianni will try to keep the inning alive for Thomas. Twins need a bloop and a blast. Something here to get on the board. Strike 1. Strike 2. The last series the Twins won at home was their 3-game sweep of Houston in early August. Popped up right field. Myers comes in to end the inning. The Twins leave Plouffe aboard. On to the 8th. It's 3-0 Tampa Bay.
I'm loving it. And by Toyota. Let's go places. To find the nearest Toyota dealer and check out our current offers, visit buyatoyota.com.
Pepsi fans of the game have the stadium giveaway orange camouflage cap turned inside out for a Twins rally late in the ball game. We go to the 8th inning. It's 3-0, and it'll be James Loney, Evan Longoria, and Kelly Johnson, all facing right-hander Ryan Presley.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, a good job by Caleb Thielbar. He only faced one batter, really.
Got 3 outs.
The squeeze double play and then the pickoff.
There ought to be some credit given in your inherited runner stat if the runners make outs. Going to have 2 in the bank. James Loney to lead things off. Strike on the outside corner.
Well, Presley making his 45th relief appearance. He's worked 71 in the 3rd innings in his rookie season. 65 hits allowed, 25 walks, 1 intentional, 45 strikeouts.
Loney, Longoria, and Johnson here in the 8th inning. Check swing, pitch in the dirt, 1-1.
I have to say Presley's had a good rookie season, a Rule 5 player.
I guess as we've talked about so many rookie hitters coming up and striking out a lot and looking overmatched at times, I don't think at any point has Presley looked overmatched. He's given the Twins competitive innings, at times some pressure-packed innings. Less than a hit per inning pitch. He's thrown strikes. He's only given up 4 home runs.
One of them coming in his last outing last Wednesday to Stephen Vogt hit that 2-run home run off of him, but that was that 18-3 ugly.
I don't remember
game.
anything about that. I don't. You have
sorry,
details.
I even brought it up.
You have details of that game in your memory that I have erased from mine. Colabello at first. He flips to Presley, 1 away. And that'll bring up Longoria.
Well, what Presley has done too, he and Swarzak are the two guys that have been used a lot out of that bullpen, more than 2 innings. I mean, 7 times he's pitched at least 3 innings and an outing. And the same can be said for Swarzak.
Longoria with a couple of ground balls and a strikeout and a fastball inside. Here we are late in the season, and I know Presley's only thrown 57 2/3 innings, but still plenty of life on the fastball. I think he's had a tougher time controlling his breaking pitch. He spiked a few of those in the dirt. There it is right there for a strike.
Good curveball right there in a fastball situation to a good hitter like Longoria. I'm sure he was looking fastball right there. Evens the count.
Pinto having a tough time catching Presley.
There's a little cutter right there that looked like hit the heel of the glove. Cutter, slider, number 3.
2-1.
To me, that's all a cutter is a slider.
Nearly hit Hunter Wendelstedt in the match.
94-mile-an-hour fastball, just trying to overthrow a little bit right there.
3-1. Kelly Johnson on deck. And Longoria swings through a belt-high fastball. 3-2.
All the pitches up in the strike zone.
And breaking pitch got him.
Then he goes down with that breaking ball and picks up a strikeout. Good tight rotation here on this breaking ball.
Strike out a lot of hitters with that pitch.
Yes, you would.
An updated look at the AT&T Twitter poll. Which American League contending manager would you most like in your dugout during October? Split fairly evenly.
How about you? Who would you like?
Well, I think Madden's probably, and Bob Melvin have done the most with the least in terms of getting to postseason play.
See, I'd like Jim Leyland.
Yeah, I mean they're all great managers.
Yep.
You pick one, and you run the risk of doing the others a disservice. He's just a very innovative, creative guy. He's had to deal with roster turnover where some of those other guys have not.
I know when he joined the Rays, you know, they were not very good, but the front office and Joe Madden have built a very solid organization over the last 5 seasons.
1-1. And the ball stroked off the glove of Dozier. He's had a tough day. He hasn't had any errors, but he's had one come off his glove going to his right and one come off his glove going to his left.
Yeah, those are usually plays that, you know, we see Dozier making great plays of, but not here tonight so far. That ball hit sharply. Kelly hitting the ball right on the line, right on the end of the bat, but Dozier reaching over and right off the tip of the glove. It'll be a base hit for Kelly, his first hit, and for the Rays, their 9th.
Will Myers will bat. And swing. No swing, says Jerry Lane. Pinto with the block. Pinto with the block. I'll do that a few more times before his career's over with.
Nick Puto with the Dodgers.
Doing well.
Yes,
playing,
he is.
Regularly over there.
There's a good block. Saw one get away earlier when Kevin Correa was up. He kind of and it ricocheted off. As a pitcher, when you have a pretty good curveball like Presley, you have to believe that your catcher will block that ball because you want to throw that curveball right on the other side of home plate. Kind of like what he threw to Longoria to struck him out.
2-0 to Myers.
Going fastball in. Good pitch. That's where Pinto wanted that ball, and that's where it was.
Said this before. I'll be interested to see what role the Twins have envisioned for Presley, and for that matter, whether it's even going to be with the big league club. You can imagine them maybe trying to groom him back into a starting pitcher, starting the season next year at AAA.
Especially for what the Twins don't have, Dick. You know.
Myers is out.
That got into the refrigerator.
Wow. Presley says, hey, my bad. That ball came in.
In the kitchen, in the fridge.
Marnie Gellner. We hope you'll stay with us after this game is over as our coverage continues with Twins Live presented by CenturyLink. We'll look at how Chris Archer and really this Rays pitching staff as a whole tonight has shut down the Twins. No runs on just 4 Minnesota hits so far tonight. Plus, we'll update what Dick Bramer called the best race right now in baseball, the American League, and in particular the wild card race where Tampa and Texas were tied coming into tonight with the Yankees just 1 game back. An update on that race, plus we'll hear from Ron Gardenhire. All of that, Dick and Bert, is after the final out is recorded tonight.
All right, thank you very much, Marnie. Joel Peralta comes into the ball game to pitch next for the Rays.
We see the 71 games. That's the most amongst any reliever in the American League as far as appearances, and also has 36 holds, which is the most in the American League. A hold is hold the ball game for the closer. He has 36 of those, and a closer, Fernando Rodney.
And a fastball taken, strike 1. Thomas a bouncer to short and a called third strike. A breaking pitch on the outside corner, 0-2. The Rays beat the Twins in a 4-game series in St. Petersburg in July. They won all 4 games. Thomas strikes out 1 away.
Nasty pitch right there. Let's take a look at the last pitch right here by Presley to Will Myers. And good to see Myers still has a thumb on out in right field. Oh, look at that. Oh, the ball back cracked right there. And the ball trickles in front of home plate. Little splinters.
1 down. Here's Eduardo Escobar. With the scheduling these days, 4-game series aren't nearly as common as they used to be. 4-game sweeps then are much rarer than they used to be, yet the Twins suffered 2 of them in a span of 11 games. They lost 4 games here to the Yankees, went to Toronto, and then were swept in 4 games in St. Petersburg. Escobar dumps a single to right with 1 out in the 8th.
Oh, ball left up right there, and Escobar served it softly into right field. Twins pick up their 5th hit of the ball game. Escobar's first.
Presley 1 for 3. He's put the ball in play 3 times. Presley singled to left in the 1st, lined out to the shortstop Escobar in the 3rd, and then bounced out to Escobar in the 6th. Up high, ball 1. Presley had 72 at-bats with the Pirates before the trade. He has had 50 at-bats now with the Twins. Swing and a miss, 1-1.
Peralta, 37 years old, in his 3rd season with the Rays, came up with the Angels in 2005. Twins saw him a little bit when he was with the Royals. Also spent time with the Colorado Rockies and the Washington Nationals. Been a workhorse out of that bullpen for the Rays.
Swing and a miss, 1-2.
He's got that split finger, and that looks like that what that pitch was right there.
Yeah. 1-2. The Twin center fielder. Foul tip. Molina hangs on. 2 down.
Another strikeout. 2nd strikeout for Peralta. The Twins have struck out 10 times tonight. Split finger just tailing away.
The 10 strikeout game happens more often than it doesn't. 2 down, a runner at first, and Pinto, the hitter. 0 for 3, 3 ground ball outs. In the dirt, ball 1. Casey Fiend warming up. He may pitch the 9th inning. And Cleveland beat Chicago. Baltimore beat Toronto. Detroit beat Kansas City. Boston beat New York. Pirates lost today to the Cubs. Pinto takes a strike, 1-1.
That's a big slow curveball right there. Been pretty reliable for the Rays over the last 3 years. 2 years ago, Peralta appeared in 71 ball games. Last year, 76. This is his 72nd appearance this year.
1-1. On the outside corner, 1-2.
Hey, got a battle on the road.
Pinto trying to extend the inning to get Dozier to the plate as the tying run.
Come on.
1-2. Tamper to third. Longoria fires to second. That ends the inning. On to the ninth inning. 3-0 Tampa Bay. Stay tuned for the Gander Mountain weekend weather update for Twins territory. Blaze orange hats. Century link to what's next. Matt Moore, Andrew Albers. They're both left-handed. After that, the similarity stops.
Yeah, Moore having an outstanding year, even though he spent some time on a disabled list. Andrew Albers coming off that great game that he pitched 7 shutout innings against the Toronto Blue Jays. So hopefully it'll be a good pitching matchup.
In terms of how they got to the big leagues, Moore, a top draft pick. Always on everybody's radar screen as being somebody who's ready to break through and have a great major league career, and Albers had to literally beg for a job in professional baseball.
You can see the smile right there, enjoying every minute of it.
Casey Feed does in fact come out of the Twins bullpen.
Yeah, Casey making his 67th relief appearance. He last worked last Monday, a shutout inning. And that against the Angels ended up picking up the win in the Twins' 6-3 win.
Bottom third of the Rays lineup: Desmond Jennings, Jose Molina, and Yunel Escobar. Strike one. Oakland leading Texas 9-2, top of the 7th inning. Rangers looking very much like the toothpaste is out of the tube. 1-1.
I like that. Toothpaste is out of the tube.
Well, I mean, they didn't play well when the Twins were down there. The Twins probably should have won all 3 games in Arlington.
They've come into today's game against Oakland that they find themselves 3.5 games back, only winning 2 of the last 10 ball games.
Pittsburgh went down there and pretty much ran them all over the field.
Yeah.
1-2 to Jennings, then Molina, then Escobar. Swing and a miss. And Fiend picks up a strikeout.
Yeah, for Casey Fiend, that is his 66th strikeout in 57 2/3 innings pitched. He comes right at you. No fooling around with Casey Fiend. Good fastball, good hard slider.
One down, and Jose Molina. Bouncer to short. Escobar has all day. And Molina just now entering your picture. 2 down.
Hey, you know what? I mean, look at how he's handled that staff.
Oh, I know. David Price always has fun at the ballpark.
I believe he's keeping the chart, and somebody put it on the wall, so he's going to leave it there on the ceiling. He's pitching here Sunday.
Down and away, ball 1. Escobar, 3 hits tonight. A couple of doubles, 1 run scored, 1 run batted in. 1-1. Bottom of the 9th, and the Twins are due to have Dozier, Arce, and Plufa, probably against Fernando Rodney. Back into the seats.
I wonder if that's the sheet that Joe Madden looks at. You know, I believe it is. It's a lineup
chart. Yeah.
Who's in the game? Who's out? Let's see. Twins. Already can see that. High ceilings too. I don't know if Joe Madden will be able to reach that high. Need a chair in there.
Two and 2 to Escobar. Fouled away.
Escobar getting traded over from the Marlins over the winter. Solid player. Made only 6 errors on the year at short. Very steady.
Good inning again for Casey Fiend. A 1-2-3 inning, couple of strikeouts. See if the Twins can put something together in the bottom of the 9th with David Price bringing Fernando Rodney into the game. Price making the lineup changes. Ceiling of the club dugout.
I wonder if he has Sam Fuld now in right field. Fernando Rodney now on the mound. As you take a look at Rodney's numbers, looking for his 35th save and 43 save opportunities. Making his 63rd relief appearance. Last year he had 48 saves for the Rays. That led the major leagues.
It'll be Dozier, Arcia, and Plouffe. Twins have a bench of Willingham, Doman, Herman, Florimone, Pryor, and Bernier.
Fernando Rodney last year, comeback player of the year in the American League when he saved the 48 games. Sam Fuld, there's in right field. That's what David Price wanted.
Dozier 0 for 3 in the ball game. Arcia 0 for 3 in the ball game. Trevor Plouffe 2 for 3. See if the Twins can put together a 9th inning ambush. They were all but shut out yesterday, and they have been shut out so far here today.
Fernando Rodney with 78 strikeouts in 59 2/3 innings.
Fans have patiently sat through the night without much to cheer about. Will try to help get something going. Up and away, ball 1.
The Twins have been shut out 11 times this year. For the Rays, they have combined to have 13 shutouts as a team.
1-1.
Rodney with a good fastball, slider, great changeup.
Fastball on the outside corner. 1-2. Tap to the left side. Escobar retires Dozier. 1 away. And that'll bring up Arcia.
I don't really know why he wears his hat the way he does. But he does.
And they're wearing theirs in that fashion, hoping for a rally. 0 for 3 for Arcia with a couple of strikeouts and a foul out. Strike 1.
There's a good changeup right there. 82-mile-an-hour changeup.
He's gotten them 0-2 with an 80-mile-per-hour changeup and an 82-mile-per-hour changeup. One taken for a strike and one swung at.
Does he stay with the changeup? And he did. And you saw the movement of that changeup.
2 down.
So Arcia striking out for the 3rd time in a ball game. Watch this ball take off right here. Wow. The movement on that pitch. Need a telephone pole to foul that off.
Twins have 5 hits. Trevor Plouffe has 2 of them. Pair of singles. Fastball over the inside corner.
That's what we've seen out of that bullpen. They have come in and gotten ahead of almost every hitter. Strike 1. And now strike 2.
A little extra mile per hour, 97 miles per hour for Rodney on strike 2.
Well, we saw that from Archer, 96, 97 mile an hour fastball, then that 80 mile an hour changeup.
37 again, and Plouffe gets a piece of it. 10 pitches, 9 strikes for Rodney. 2 quick outs. And Trevor Plouffe in a deep 0-2 hole. 1-2. Ryan Doman's in the on-deck circle. Josh Willingham on the top step of the dugout if Plouffe can keep the game alive. So the Twins veterans will come off the bench and hit here. That's a foul ball. Gloved by Longoria.
Fernando Rodney, 36 years old. He's the 11th season at the major league level. Came up with the Tigers in 2002. Also spent time with the Angels.
Knocked down by Rodney. And he makes the play. Gets the save. And the Tampa Bay Rays have made it now 5 for 5 against the Twins.
Well, it was the Minnesota Twins getting shut out again for the 12th time this year, and the Rays beating them in all 5 games they have faced the Twins so far. Rodney picking up a save.
Tom Hanneman, the Twins lose the opener to the Rays, and they'll try tomorrow to play the role of spoiler.
Dick, the Rays have won 10 straight against the Twins now, dating back to April 21st of 2012. It's the longest losing streak against any team currently in Major League Baseball.